Hey guys, so this is my little piece of paradise. Lots of wind turbines over here on Wolf. Pretty quiet. There are times you hear them. Not for the most part, you don't even realize they're here. Anyways, I don't have wind turbines. What I have is a solar panel system that's developed by Link. And let's get started. So if you walk over here, I don't have it mounted on the roof as of yet. Right now, I'll just bring it out each day. I come out, not each day, but each time I come out to the cabin. And here it is here. It's just thrown. I had to move it around to cut the grass today. And you see the cables go up. Everything's temporary here. That's what life is like here. Nothing's very permanent, so you see that's just taped up. Anyways, it's a the panel is a 285 watt panel, which generally charges my 1000 watt or 1 kilowatt Chevy Volt battery before noon. Yesterday was really overcast. We had a high drain on my fridge. It was really hot. I never actually did max it. Oh, by the way, we started the day off at a deficit because the battery's a little low. But generally speaking, like today, by about 11 o'clock, I had everything backed up from about 2 days worth of power usage. Anyway, so if we walk into the cabin here, always have to excuse the mess. That's what cabin life's all about. We go up the loft. And once again, everything's just pretty much temporarily set up here. And here is pretty much the whole system in this box. So the solar cables you saw going up come into a breaker box. Really only the positive goes in through here. Here's a 20 amp breaker. Then the positive and negative go into the charge controller right here. And there is a, if you can see down here, I'm going to point to it, this flashing blue light. That's a Bluetooth dongle that is right now attached to the charge controller. I can move it to the inverter if I want to make some adjustments, but pretty much once that inverter is set, I'll leave it plugged into the charge controller, and then I can use a phone app to adjust anything or monitor the usage. So once energy from the solar panels goes into the charge controller, it then is fed into the Chevy Volt battery, which is actually tucked under here. Way down in under here. Then from the battery, we gain our power through a bus bar with a fuse right here, and the power goes directly into the inverter. This is a Phoenix 24 volt, because I run a 24 volt system, 500 watt, but it has a peak energy capacity of over 900 watts. And that's plenty to run my little fridge. The compressor kicks in at 700, so I still have about 150 watts of power to spare. I do actually run a load directly off the charge controller. That it does take the battery power from the battery, but also from the once the solar system too. And that's what this little bus bar is for. And I run a floodlight. You see over there. Once again, everything's not very tidy, but when you're experimenting with things, you're always removing things anyway. So that goes to an outside floodlight. It's actually an automotive floodlight, and it was able to accept anywhere from 24 volts to 30 some volts. So 12 volts to 30 some volts. So we're well within the power range, and it worked quite well. So once the inverter has changed the 24 volt to 120, there's only one little outlet here at the back. Here. Now I'm always doing experiments. So this is a kilowatt meter. This is showing me I've used 2.64 kilowatts, and that was plugged in yesterday morning at 8 a.m. so almost a day and a half. So I'm figuring 500 watts of power is what I'm using for a day. It's quite considerable considering how small the system is, but it's been extremely hot here and that fridge has been running non-stop. Quite the octopus. Like I said, a lot of things are temporary. But what I generally run out of here is there's an LED light that runs off this one and 2 power bars that run along the ceiling, so to speak, or the floor of the loft, and come down and drop down. Unlike in a conventional home where power comes from the basement up, I'm running power from the top down. So if you run down here to this power bar, down here I plug in rechargeable batteries. I'll charge my phone here, and this is where the fridge is plugged in. I kind of regret the little fridge I bought because I'm kind of thinking the compressor is the same regardless of the size of the fridge, and it's not going to take much more to run a bigger fridge. I may upgrade to a larger fridge. I generally am the only one here, so the only cooling area is a little freezer box. This goes right to the back, this shelf, which this shelf does freeze. I've frozen a few vegetables, unfortunately. This shelf is not very deep. And we've got some things in the door. It's just the things you need, the essentials: milk, cheese, eggs, your salad, stuff. You open a jar of salsa, you want to keep it fresh. 1 or 2 people can survive like 2-3 days maybe with this. I am fortunate enough to have a corner store nearby, so I can always buy fresh stuff. But a larger fridge, I don't think it'd be I should say, I don't think it'd be much more in the way of power consumption, but I would get a lot more space. So I'd probably maybe see what I can fit under here and change this out next year. The fridge itself does operate at about 50 watts when it's running, but the surge kick on the compressor is in excess of 700. That blew me away. The first inverter I used was only a 350 watt inverter, and it could not handle the surge on that. The 500 watt from that I picked up from bobalinksolar.com now handles my usage completely. That's no problem. These messy cables are just charge cables hanging. They're not plugged into anything. And so running along here and down is one more power bar that came from the original inverter, and it's operating a TV, a little fan at night, perhaps a radio, and also I don't have it on screen here on camera, but I have a little Android box that I play movies and stuff that I've recorded at home. It's only a 19-inch TV, 19-inch TV, and it generally runs about, I think it's about 13 watts running and 1 watt. You'll notice I always switch off things or unplug. It's minimal. I think there's only 1 watt that drains on this TV while it's sitting dormant, but every watt counts when you're on solar and battery backup until you've got a surplus. So I generally shut power bars off, or if I want the fan on and the TV off, I'll just unplug the TV. Anyways, that's pretty much how the solar setup works here. It's been kind of tricky on some cloudy days. I do have to moderate my use. I don't leave the TV running all the time, not like at home. The fan is only there for comfort. It doesn't cool the cabin down, it's just to cool you off if you come in from outdoors. But that's pretty much what I run here. A few accessories. I don't run a coffee maker. That would kill the battery, I'm sure. Anything with a heating element, a hair dryer, like I would use a hair dryer, a coffee maker, such, they really kill the battery. The simplest thing for me, I mean, everyone's individual. Simplest thing for me is I have a propane stove. I heat water, and then I use little drip filters to make single serve coffees. Like I said, I'm here pretty much myself. I may have a guest over, or my wife may stay overnight, but we're all pretty much in the same boat with staying pretty limited. A friend of mine is not so much a person, but a store called Value Village, and I think you either know that store or something similar called Salvation Army. And I've gotten some amazing deals on things. That half the things in this cabin are done like that. And one of the things I did pick up was a hanging LED lamp. It even came with an LED light bulb. So I got them for like $4 plus tax. The whole setup, even if you bought brand new, maybe $20. I just run a very small switch right here, and it gives me more than enough light to light up a cabin. And you saw how I'll have little LED lamps here that I plug in whenever I need to. More of like, I don't light up the whole space, just kind of give it an ambient light when I come in, and then light with that. And there's other few knickknacks of solar things. This is a gazebo lantern that you could find at the Home Improvement Center. That was one of my first lamps, and it works pretty good. But all these things combined, they all take maintenance and care. I eventually hope to put the solar collector on the roof. The roof is a 12-12 pitch. That's 45-degree angle, and at this, pretty much that's the premium here. I'm almost at 45 degrees latitude, so it's just a matter of buying accessories and having the time to put it up there. And I'm not a hot day like today, but actually, right now it works quite well. Because I yesterday when the power was not quite sufficient to charge the battery from almost dead, I was able to walk it over to this side of the cabin and just catch the last bit of the sunlight that was falling there. Yeah, so anyways, I'll post a link to the manufacturer of the products we have here, and the Bobolink Solar that supplied me with everything at a fantastic price. I got twice as much solar setup for less than you would pay at either Costco or Canadian Tire or such. Anyway, folks, I'll probably do another post of the cabin, which is a little tidier, and I'll show you what we have here. Like I said, everything's it's always in the works, as I say. Nothing's ever permanent, because we're always trying to tweak things, make them a little bit better, and we do the best of what we can with the limited supplies we have when we're at the camp. Anyways, take care, folks, and hope this has been helpful for you.